Okay. Hey everyone, welcome to Unique Ways with Thomas Gerard, an audio podcast. We have a very special guest today. She is a Polish-born, Warsaw-based multidisciplinary graphic designer specializing in visual communication and art direction, and her name is Izabela Sroka. Welcome, Izabela.
Yeah, hi Thomas. Nice to thank you for invitation. I'm happy that I'm here.
Great, yeah, my pleasure. Are you ready for 20 questions?
Yes.
Okay, here we go. Number one, tell me a little bit more about yourself. What do you do?
I am a graphic designer, and so I do graphic design for a living, and I'm working for different clients. I'm running as well, together with my friend Julia Cebis, a creative studio called Falbanka, which we consider as our creative space. So we both are working, I'm working as a graphic designer, she is a painter, but we decided that we want to have a creative space in our everyday work routine as well. So this is we are working there. We actually design the patterns, and we are inspired by the local environment and as well cultural heritage, and this is more or less shortly what I'm doing.
Just a bit of a background for our audience. Izabela and I met almost 10 years ago now in New Delhi, where we were both lecturers at a small private design school there. Number two, what's a key piece of knowledge that makes you different?
Yeah, it's always interesting to answer that questions, to look on myself in this perspective. So I was thinking about this, and I think maybe it's I'm usually relating to context in my creative process. That context of the works that I'm creating is very important. Maybe this is something that makes me different. I'm very interested in our projects. The story that is behind the project, which is connected with the context, is very important for me. So yeah.
No, that's great. Yeah, I've recently, I've mentioned it before, but I recently really started to understand the power of a story kind of beyond just the truth. The idea of storytelling is so powerful.
Yeah. So I could say that I'm starting from the context, and then
Great.
I go on. Yeah.
Great. Okay. Number three, why this? Of all the things that you could be doing, why do you do what you're doing now?
I think it just comes naturally. I just like to create. It's just fun for me to create and to make the ideas happen, and to create. Yeah.
I'm interested in your idea of with the word make. We had a great guest on named Dr. Garnet Hertz, who talked a lot about maker culture and how that kind of flourished in the Western states years ago, and kind of came to bring around all of these kind of maker labs and things like that. But for me, the idea of making is maybe more basic than that, and in a way very basic, and in a way very kind of fundamental. So I'm interested to hear you use the word make. That's a great word.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Number four, what does your future look like?
Oh, unpredictable, but it's also, but I believe that it's still full of inspiration. Future scares me as well, because it's unpredictable, especially nowadays when I live in Poland, and the situation next to our border is scary. So, well, it's maybe from this both sides, I could say that it's unpredictable, but still I try to be an optimist and believe that that it's gonna be okay.
No, that's great. You know, we've David Carson has agreed to be on the show, and we've been trying to kind of schedule, but he's in Warsaw right now.
Yeah.
And so we've having a real struggle kind of getting the timings right. So I'm glad to be able to arrange this with you as a. But number 5 is kind of about that. Let's talk about location. How does the notion of place play into what you do? You know, maybe you can talk about being in Poland.
Yeah, it's important because as I said before, I usually work with the local context whenever I'm in Poland or somewhere else. I think that my project are connected to the locations. So this location is very important for me. It gives me an inspiration. Probably I'm creating different projects living in Poland. I would create a different project living in France and in Mexico or Africa. So this location like makes influence on us, and we are different person, I could say, in a different places. So the places somehow are creating us also a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's great. You know, 10 years ago, we were both in New Delhi, and for anyone to arrive from anywhere and go to New Delhi, I think is a brave thing to do. But have you been traveling since that? Have you been exploring different ideas of place or places?
Not so maybe far away from Europe. Basically, I was traveling around Europe. No, I was actually in Thailand for some time. But since our visit in India, I was traveling around Europe basically, so I wasn't so far away from Europe.
I remember during our pandemic, Thailand was one of the only places that was really open when a lot of the other places were closed, and I had some acquaintances spending time in Thailand during that time. Number 6, if you had to start from the beginning, what advice would you give your former younger self?
Don't give up and keep trying on, go on, be brave, try to be yourself or try to feel yourself. Yeah, I think maybe I would advise more courage to be more brave. Yeah.
Great. Number 7, what's a day in your life like?
Well, I am a mother of 2, so I have my family routine, and it's quite my daily routine is quite repeatable, but I try to manage with all my works till 4 p.m. and then I'm going to pick up my kids. And then I have my family time. Yeah, now my kids are on holiday, so I can spend more time on work or focusing on some project.
Cool. Yeah, everyone's day is so varied these days. It's interesting to hear these responses. Number 8, lifelong learning is a popular topic. How do you stay up to date?
Yeah, I think like every task, new task brings new learning. So I think every project is different that I'm doing, even when it's commercial project or artistic project. I never feel that it's a repetition of the something that I've done before. Well, sometimes there are some similarity, but usually always I feel that I'm doing more or less from a different corner. I look on the things. So I feel that I'm learning like all the time, something new.
Our previous guest, Keith Tam, talked about wanting to create and how necessary that is. And I think it's interesting to think of lifelong learning in that lens of just creating something and having that being a learning experience.
Yeah.
Number 9 is about tools. Are you more digital or are you more analog?
I'm probably more, I try to combine both. I work a lot in computer with, but I'm brainstorming a lot and sketching in my notebook. So before I start to work in computer, I'm writing down something, sketching. Yeah, so, but I think all the ideas starts from sketch. So actually it's quite hard to start from the new file in Photoshop or InDesign without having this idea before somewhere on paper.
You're very talented with the tools. I don't know if you know this, but I arrived in New Delhi before you and was sitting down with a colleague and we were looking at portfolios and I saw your portfolio and I was just pretty quickly like, this one, we've got to bring this one in.
Ah, okay, that's nice.
So it's your skills are top notch. We're halfway there. Number 10, how do you deal with work-life balance?
Well, I don't take my laptop on holiday. This my family situation also keep me in this balance because I have to divide my day into different sectors, as I would say. So I have the time for work and I have a time for kids, and also I try to have a time also for myself, which is also very important. So, well, it's challenging sometimes, but I think I manage.
That's a much more positive response than most people give. Most people are really have a hard time with work-life balance. It sounds like you've got it figured out.
Yeah, but I'm not a workaholic. Is that word the right word? Yeah, like, well, I like to work also when I'm doing some things, but I'm not the person who likes also to stay like all day in front of the computer and feeling really bad. So after all day, yeah.
I'm very intuitive as well. I feel like if it's not feeling right in front of the computer, then I go and do something else. Yeah. Number 11, if you weren't doing what you do now, what would you be doing?
I always actually wanted to do some creative stuff, like working with art or doing some creative work. So actually it's hard to answer the questions. Probably it's hard to imagine for me that I would do something different. Probably I don't have this dream, you know, that if I would not be I think this creative work that I have give me a lot of possibilities. So I don't feel that I'm like that I have some limitation. I actually can do many things in this space that I have. So I think I'm not missing being anybody else, like doing any other work.
Nice, that's good. I mean, if you feel like you're doing the right thing, that's probably it. What would you not like to do, for example, with your career?
This is funny. I love architecture, but I would not like to be an architect. My husband is an architect, and I feel that this architecture process is so long that I'm so I'm not patient enough to be able to follow 1 year project. Like, it's too long for me. So I think I would be really maybe I'm an impatient person also, but somehow with graphic design, it's like enough for me, this proportion of the process to the final effect. And when sometimes I'm observing my husband, I feel that, oh my God, it's just too long. So, yeah.
Yeah, I've heard this idea that, you know, as designers, as product designers, or even as graphic designers, we create prototypes, right? Pretty quickly, or
Yeah,
we create
yeah.
mock-ups or some variations to test things out. And I was having this conversation, and we were both kind of trying to understand how that would work for architecture. Like, you can't build a full-scale building. I mean, I guess you build like a model, right? But you couldn't you couldn't like prototype a building that was close to a working model of it in the same way that you can with some other design professions.
Yeah, that's right.
Number 13, what's your favorite word, quote, or sentence?
I think the word that I like, it's playground. I like this word because it's about some creative space that you have, and you can come there and you can do there whenever you want. I like to observe my kids when they are playing on the playground, and that there is no any script how to behave there. So they are like doing many random things, running, jumping, sometimes using these objects that are on the playground, on the kids playground, but sometimes not. Sometimes it's just a reason or to create some new play. So I like this idea of playground, and as a creative space and endless source of creativity, like this childhood creativity. So yeah.
I like the word playground, and I probably like it because it uses the word play.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've heard people talk about play, but play was always kind of seen as a really important aspect of design, and there needs to be play in design for it to work properly.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Number 14, what's your least favorite word, quote, or sentence?
Okay, so I have one. It's not possible. We cannot make it. I don't like when the things are not possible, and I don't like this answer. Sometimes I hear this in Poland, so I don't like there's no possible things.
We had a flight attendant on the show named Sneha Ray, and she gave the same response. She didn't like the word impossible.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Number 15, if you had to pick one word to describe yourself, what would you choose?
I think fragile. Yeah. Fragile would be that word, I think.
Great. 16, what keeps you up at night?
Coffee. Coffee would keep me at night, but I think maybe good companion, good friends around. Yeah, that would be.
Great.
This is what keeps me at night. When there is a good companion, I think I can be up long.
17, what's a dream you're chasing?
I think I would like to live a long time with in a good condition, of course, with an inspiring people around. Yeah, I would like to have a lifelong time.
Great. Final stretch, number 18, what inspires you?
I think everyday life, for sure. Random things, random situation, people that I meet around me. Yeah, but I would say random things. Yeah, the most.
Number 19.
Yeah.
Number 19, would you like to share some advice?
Yeah, I think be yourself and keep watching would be my advice.
Great. And finally, number 20, how can our listeners keep tabs on you? How can we follow you? Do you want to share anything in particular?
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram on the account Falbanka, or on the website falbanka.com as well, or also on my full name, Izabela Sroka _ graphic design, or just on the private my account, Izabela Sroka. So I have few accounts on Instagram. Whenever you want, you can join and follow my profile.
Okay, fantastic. Well, thank you, Izabela. You're such a talent, not just a talented graphic designer, but an accomplished one as well. It's such a pleasure to chat with you, and after all these years to reconnect is really special for me. So thanks so much for being on the show.
Thank you very much, Thomas. It was a pleasure, and it was nice to hear you and have a conversation with you. Thank you.
Great. Thanks so much.
Thank you.